Tonight on our special Chicago show, a push to vaccinate all Chicagoans. We sit down with those tackling vaccine hesitancy.
I just love what I do.
Plus, we spend a morning with a Chicagoan who just can't help her desire to help others.
And Argyle Street offers Asian delicacies with culture and community on the menu.
And finally, after a year of rough waters, hopes for smooth sailing as Chicago River cruises chart a post-COVID world.
Those stories and more tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your Chicago news right now. Good evening and welcome to our Chicago show. I'm Joey Safchik.
And I'm Megan Leibowitz.
Megan, I'm so excited for this report. Our team is back in the field in Chicago for the first time in more than a year.
And they've been working so hard on this, and I cannot wait to show all of the stories that they've been working on. So let's get into it first with COVID updates. Across Northwestern's Evanston and Chicago campuses, vaccines are changing the Wildcat way of life. Both the cities of Chicago and Evanston say you don't need to wear a mask in most places. I take a look at what these changes mean for students.
14 months after this,
as of this morning, March 14th, CDC reported more than 2,000 cases of COVID-19.
A light at the end of the tunnel.
If you are fully vaccinated, you can start doing the things that you had stopped doing because of the pandemic.
New CDC guidance says if you're fully vaccinated, you can drop the mask in most places. But Northwestern still calling for masks indoors.
We obviously are ultimately under the jurisdiction of Evanston and Chicago Public Health.
This latest guidance after the CDC recommends Pfizer vaccines for children ages 12 to 15.
As the school year comes, again, I think a focus on that vaccination of 12 to 15-year-olds is going to be key. The question then is going to be, what capacity can each room have?
Back on the Chicago and Evanston campuses, Northwestern will require undergraduates and graduates to be vaccinated next school year.
I think Northwestern doing its part to get as much of our kind of student population vaccinated as possible goes to help the broader Evanston community, Chicago, Illinois. And so I think we see it as doing our part.
What's the rationale then for not requiring staff and faculty to be vaccinated this coming school year?
So I think we just haven't made a final decision on that topic yet. So I think there was some urgency on the student piece of it, primarily because we've got a month left before students leave.
No decision yet on vaccine passports either, but Fagora says Northwestern is keeping an eye on potential state guidance on vaccine passports while recording who completes vaccine self-disclosure forms.
We've got the ability to tie that back, kind of connect that data ultimately to like the symptom tracker app.
Students can self-report vaccinations by going to Northwestern's COVID-19 and Campus Updates website.
Great report, Megan. But for some Chicago communities, there's still a long way to go before reaching high vaccination rates. Here's our Hannah Jung.
Joey, the Chicago Department of Public Health reporting Tuesday just above 30% Black and almost 40% Latinx Chicagoans have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. Health professionals tell me that to reach these communities, a top-down approach is not enough. In Chicago, Black and Latinx are lagging behind the white and Asian communities in vaccination rates by more than 20%.
People were made to do things. They weren't given a choice. So if somebody feels forced, then it's like they're likely not to do it.
The distrust makes people skeptical about vaccinations.
These are communities of color that have a century of having been discriminated by our healthcare system.
The distrust in medical establishments comes from instances like the Tuskegee experiment, when hundreds of African Americans were the subjects of medical experiments under the guise of treatment.
Department of Public Health is not really something that they've ever really viewed before as this trusted source of information. It's really more local.
Kim J provides that local support. She's a community health worker serving North and South Lawndale. She listens to people's concerns about vaccines and connects them to medical resources.
I allow them to sit in that decision. If this is how you feel, that's fine. But these are the facts.
Personal connection crucial to Jay's everyday job.
What comes from the heart reaches the heart. So if you know that I'm believing in what I'm saying, then you can if Kim is saying it, I really can trust that.
vaccine hesitancy embedded in historical health inequity, but that's only part of the story. Communities like Brighton Park, Chicago struggle with impact of delayed vaccines.
Let's open the restaurants up so we can get business going while at the same time let's not vaccinate the restaurant workers of Brighton Park.
Chicago Department of Public Health provided early vaccines to 15 communities, but Brighton Park was not included.
We chose 15 communities for Protect Chicago Plus, and we said just for this focused part where vaccine is very limited.
Today, with more vaccines, the positivity rate in Brighton Park remains above 5%.
If we would have received the vaccine earlier in a higher quantity, we wouldn't be dealing with some of those impacts today.
Communities overcoming obstacles to embrace a COVID-free Chicago. Hannah Jiang, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Hannah. According to the Association of American Medical Colleges, mass vaccination sites often exclude low-income and minority communities. NNN's Michaela Denault explains how grassroots organizations are stepping in.
I'm going to be able to hug my dad again, which is amazing.
The Illinois Medical Professionals Action Collaborative Team, or IMPACT, mobilizes vaccinations with smaller community sites throughout Chicago.
And so we created the organization at the beginning of the pandemic to really start to address some of the information that was out there. We realized there wasn't a coordinated national response that was being put into place.
Shika Jain says some individuals within vulnerable communities lack access to information.
Because a lot of people, especially in the most vulnerable communities, don't necessarily have access to Wi-Fi or a computer, or they can't take off time from work to be constantly refreshing a screen to try to get themselves an appointment.
IMPACT collaborates with medical centers like this one at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, bringing vaccines to vulnerable communities.
So because of our diverse makeup of our group, we've really been able to address the vaccine challenges based on what we're hearing from a variety of different parts of the state.
Other organizations partner with IMPACT, bringing vaccines to those who can't leave their homes.
Basically, my dad had a stroke about 2.5 years ago. So getting out of the house is a very difficult undertaking, and one that he's not really able to walk. Going out was not really an option. So I've been kind of trying to find resources for some time to get a homebound vaccination. And it's a lot tougher than you'd think.
Jean Powley saw firsthand how her father was impacted by IMPACT.
This will allow us to kind of be back together as a family again.
Door-knocking campaigns, pop-up clinics, and appointment education are known as micro-targeting. Medical volunteers bring vaccines to areas that are disproportionately affected.
I'm a Black woman originally from the South Side of Chicago, and health disparities is our life and our culture, on the South and the West Side. And the only way to address that is that people in leadership positions try to make a change.
Mobilizing vaccines for the reunification of loved ones. Michaela Denault, Northwestern News Network.
IMPACT encourages people to volunteer for upcoming community vaccination events through their website at www.impactforhc.com.
The city of Chicago is embracing the CDC's new COVID-19 guidelines as the city begins to reopen. NNN's Diego Ramos takes us downtown.
As spring blooms, the city booms. The CDC easing COVID restrictions as cases decline, allowing more in-person activity. Chicago stadiums are hosting fans at more than 20% capacity.
And our positivity rate is the lowest it's ever been. Now, it's time to play ball.
Governor Pritzker is moving Chicago to a bridge phase. He's hoping to open the city completely by June 11th. That's if COVID cases continue to decline. But he's willing to put restrictions back up if they don't.
It felt great. My first game back in my season tickets in 2 years. And there'll actually be people sitting next to me in the seats.
The bridge phase allows for higher capacity limits at restaurants, gyms, and spectator events. It comes after the CDC's removal of mask mandates for people who are fully vaccinated. But while the CDC's regulations hint at the end of the pandemic, some Chicagoans remain skeptical.
And it was a concern for me thinking about, well, I can go out not wearing a mask, but it's hard to trust other people if people are not actually vaccinated and say they are. It's more the honor system.
I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a good thing we keep moving on as a country and stuff, so we'll see how it ends up.
Navy Pier, which had been closed for over a year, reopening. Chicagoans can now ride the iconic Ferris wheel and other attractions. Plus, a 10-minute fireworks show every Saturday night in May.
It was awesome!
It was amazing. It's my 30th birthday, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it feels like we're out of their cages. I feel like,
yeah, it's very
we're
refreshing.
free, very refreshing.
Definitely. It gives us some hope for sure.
Yeah.
Hope that will continue to boom across the city. At Navy Pier, Diego Ramos Bechara, Northwestern News Network.
If cases continue to decline, Governor Pritzker plans to bring Chicago from the bridge phase to phase 5, aiming for a full reopening. And as more Chicagoans get their COVID vaccine, the city is offering special events exclusively for those vaccinated residents. NNN's Jason Bieferman has the story.
In mid-May, Chicagoans are gathering for music and dancing for the first time in over a year, but only if they can prove they're vaccinated.
The Chicago Department of Public Health and the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs are teaming up to kick off the Protect Chicago music series right here in Hyde Park. The series is aimed at incentivizing young people to get the vaccine and rewarding them for doing their part to help end this pandemic.
In an April 27th news conference, Health Commissioner Allison Arwady shared her plans for a, quote, VaxPass program in which certain concerts and events will be limited to vaccinated Chicago residents.
My goal at this point is to say, you want to be part of the fun, get vaccinated.
To enter the concert, Chicagoans must show their CDC vaccination card and a matching photo ID. Indie soul DJ Dwayne Powell, one of the concert's headliners, says the event is a way to celebrate young vaccinated Chicagoans.
We want to get people back into the world. We want people to start feeling comfortable with being in arenas again and in spaces again with other people.
Powell says he's faced pushback from people who disagree with the city's decision to limit the concert to vaccinated residents. But he's happy to get back on the stage again.
They do deserve to have something that they could be able to feel safe to come out to again.
With music in the air and COVID at bay, Chicagoans can dance and boogie in safety. In Hyde Park, Jason Bieferman, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Jason. If you're ready to hit the concert scene, Lollapalooza is coming up. Concert goers must be fully vaccinated or able to show a negative COVID test that was taken within the past 24 hours. Don't stop believing in a party in the USA, because this year featured artists include Journey, Miley Cyrus, and Post Malone. Tickets are on sale now, and the concerts run July 29th through August 1st. Coming up, how an organization is fighting for justice and an end to wrongful convictions.
And a closer look at gender-based violence in the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Red Line Extension Project plans to add on to Chicago's public transport system in order to make CTA trains more accessible to residents on the south side of Chicago. NNN's Elizabeth Betts has more.
The CTA Red Line currently ends at 95th Dan Ryan, meaning it doesn't reach many communities in Chicago's south side.
I think it's just kind of crazy how we have trains that go to Skokie and trains that go to Evanston, but the Red Line doesn't even go to the outskirts of Chicago.
Bobbitt grew up on the south side and went to school in the West Loop. He says he's seen the inaccessibility of the Red Line in real time.
I was really able to directly see how little the CTA buses ran on the south side compared to other parts of the city. There was only really one bus that I could really take to get to the train.
Bobbitt acknowledges the extension is needed, but worries about the project's side effects.
The amount of time and constructions that's gonna take for the project to be completed. I'm also fearful of what that can do to a lot of communities, making travel inaccessible during that time.
The Red Line Extension Coalition advocates for change regarding the CTA trains and routes.
we have a small group of community people, and we engage as many organizations as possible to continue to advocate for the Red Line extension and development around the stations.
What are some of the coalition's desired changes?
Each station should be a safe haven, emergency safety kiosk. Well, those should be within a block of each station.
Lafarge says the development will help the reputation of the South Side.
Our community is a transportation desert, medical desert, pharmacy desert. We need better schools, okay? And there's so many needs.
CTA representatives would not confirm when they're looking to start the project, but WTTW previously reported that construction is looking to begin in 2025. Reporting from the Red Line, Elizabeth Betts, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Northwestern Center on Wrongful Convictions is working for justice for all. Here's NNN's Julia Richardson.
The Center on Wrongful Convictions, or CWC, receives around 3,500 letters a year from inmates around the country asking for legal help.
We read every single one of them. We respond to every single one of them.
The center, established in 1999, is responsible for over 40 exonerations all over the country.
That's probably hundreds of years of sentences that are now gone.
60 of those years come from the wrongful conviction of Swiggert's former client and now friend, Eric Blackman, who was exonerated in 2019.
I had a great experience working with the CWC. I mean, they changed my life. What else can I say? The acceptance and everything else went well beyond just my criminal case and my matter. They became more like my friends and my family.
Now, Blackman works at the MacArthur Justice Center, a firm in NU Law's Bloom Legal Clinic dedicated to human rights and social justice.
To right the injustices is what keeps me going every day to just to fight the good fight.
The thing that really resonates with me is mercy. When I see mercy happen, I think of the best of humanity.
The CWC's popularity grew as it was featured in a Netflix show and #1 podcast.
So this combination of this media synergy and this awareness has led to an opening of this conversation like I have never seen before.
But how can ordinary people who want to make a difference get involved? Nyrider says the best way to do so is through learning, talking, and continuing to support organizations like the NAACP, the Innocence Project, and of course, the CWC.
Start a conversation, build a conversation, join the conversation. When you read about somebody who's experienced injustice, keep saying their name.
The Center on Wrongful Convictions, continuing the conversation about criminal justice one exoneration at a time. Julia Richardson, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Julia. President Biden signed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law Thursday. The legislation addresses increased hate crimes during the pandemic with emphasis on anti-Asian American sentiment. And amid a rise in anti-Asian American hate crimes, the AAPI community is also battling gender-based violence. Jenny Ha reports on a local organization helping Asian American and immigrant survivors. Jenny?
Today's pandemic presenting additional challenges to the AAPI community. Since 1990, CanWin, a local nonprofit working to eliminate gender-based violence against women and children in Asian and Asian American communities.
Asian survivors and Asian American survivors are just not considered when it comes to policy and also when it comes to services.
With COVID-19, a 40% increase in CanWin's 24-hour, multilingual, free and confidential hotline. Most calls from
women who are trapped in abusive relationships, oftentimes with abusive spouses.
Jessica Wong, CanWin's youth and young adult organizer, says 3 major systemic barriers are language access, immigration status, and cultural competency.
Other agencies might not have people on staff that speak their language. They might not have resources that are translated.
The organization mostly provides direct services like transitional housing, legal advice, counseling, and referrals to other sexual assault and domestic violence agencies. Wong says pre-COVID, survivors could seek services like counseling in either of these counseling offices. White noise machines are turned on to guarantee confidentiality. Wong says immigration status often prevents survivors from leaving their abusers, as many are reliant on their partners for legal residence in the U.S. So, CanWin prioritizes pairing survivors up with translators and interpreters of the same ethnicity.
Having advocates that speak their language, having advocates that understand the role that immigration status plays into the violence that they are experiencing and the access that they have to resources and different options.
Community education and involvement critical.
Anti-violence and racial justice, they're very intricately tied and they can't be separated from one another.
As efforts to eradicate gender-based violence for Asians shouldn't stop at CanWin. Working towards a world in which all survivors are included in communal and legal dialogue and policy. In Park Ridge, Jenny Huh, Northwestern News Network.
And Jenny joins us now. Jenny, how has CanWin been helping survivors during the pandemic?
Joey, in addition to the 40% increase in CanWin's hotline calls during COVID, Wong also says there's been 1,000% increase in emergency fund spendings as unemployment rates go up and shelter capacity goes down. Joey?
Thanks, Jenny.
From North Glenwood Avenue to Sheridan Road, Argyle Street is home to Asian restaurants like Da Nang Kitchen and Na Hang. A group of volunteers is trying to show the world what Asia on Argyle is all about. NNN's Katrina Pham has this story.
What evolved into a social media initiative started right here as a food pantry in Asia on Argyle. Seeing her community struggle during the pandemic, Saini Nguyen founding Celebrate Argyle.
I realized that Celebrate Argyle was going to be an initiative that was going to foster an opportunity to continue to re-thrive.
The Instagram page features food and local business owners who make it possible. Celebrate Argyle partnering with restaurant Nha Hang and sharing the history of their Vietnamese cooking.
To see that progression from someone who came over to Chicago from Vietnam and built that up for themselves and see that dream come to fruition, those are the moments that drive me to contribute to this initiative.
And organizers of Celebrate Argyle share personal ties to the community.
My parents are Vietnamese refugees, and when they came here from Vietnam, they went to school in the Midwest and decided to create a pharmacy here on Argyle Street.
With over 1,000 followers, the initiative working to increase understanding of the community in Argyle.
Growing up, for example, I didn't know too much about Asian American history. And so just being able to, lift up these voices, Celebrate Argyle, is doing that.
Data from California State University counts a 164% increase in anti-Asian hate crimes in 2021. With rising anti-Asian sentiments, organizers ask for a deeper appreciation of Asian culture.
Beyond food, there's stories to tell, and there's livelihoods that are existent behind, an Instagrammable bowl of pho.
Celebrate Argyle, showing that Argyle isn't just a street, it's home. Katrina Pham, Northwestern News Network.
Organizers of Celebrate Argyle are teaming up with Hai Ba Yo to host a pop-up event on Argyle on May 26th. The program highlights AAPI voices in art, music, and other live performances. Coming up, 3 women with callings to make Chicago a better place.
Plus, order up some of Chicago's best food and drink spots. We'll go on a mouth-watering tour of some of the spots you might want to hit with your parents during graduation season. Stay tuned.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game.
Welcome back. The American Red Cross of Greater Chicago announcing local heroes in 12 categories last month. NNN's Gabrielle Coriati introduces us to one of those heroes tackling food insecurity in the city.
Esther Lindor from Lakeview Pantry in northern Chicago is the 2021 Essential Services Hero.
You just never know what somebody's going through.
Lindor is the manager for the pantry's online market, which allows clients to order ahead for pickup.
Before the pandemic, it was an idea that we had, or that was come into fruition, primarily because the in-person aspect of coming to our physical pantry is an incredibly long wait.
When COVID-19 hit, the pantry saw a 400% increase in demand, almost all of which was through the online market.
I want to say the one thing that we definitely struggled with was the sheer volume of people. I think our site crashed at one point.
The Red Cross recognition came as a shock.
I still cannot wrap my head around it, to be honest.
A surprise to Lindor, but not to those who work with her.
She knows how to work with volunteers, and partly because I think she was one, but also really understands our clients really well.
Lindor might be the one who is honored as Chicago's Essential Services Hero, but it takes more than one person to help all of this work.
A win for Esther is a win for everybody.
From getting the food to the warehouse to getting it onto Chicago's tables, staff are needed in all parts of the process.
In order for the online market to do what we do, we rely heavily on donors, volunteers to glean, on drivers, on the other logistical parts of the process.
Food deserts, where a grocery store is at least a mile away, are most common in the south and west sides of Chicago, where Lakeview Pantry hopes to expand.
Our vision is to eliminate hunger, and as far reach as that might seem, I think we can at least close the gap a little bit.
Closing the gap, one box of groceries at a time. In Andersonville, Gabrielle Coriati, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Lakeview Pantry says they're always in need of volunteers and donations. Visit lakeviewpantry.org to see how you can help.
And efforts to reduce food insecurity can be found all over our city. NNN's Talia Kalman takes us to Rogers Park.
In 2018, Karen Nakamowski, creator of the cooking blog Mama Chef, was delivering meals to people in need in Chicago.
That night I woke up in the middle of the night as human nature. I think we all wake up and have these crazy ideas. And my crazy idea was to start a soup kitchen.
The next morning, Nakamowski reached out to synagogues in Rogers Park that might be interested in working together. Congregation Kins answered her call. Nakamowski says the soup kitchen was up and running within a few months.
We do this once a week. We can really invest a lot into the meals. So we would set the room up with a tablecloth with flowers. We would sometimes have music. It was more than just a meal.
Before the pandemic, Mama Chef Soup Kitchen's 6-course meals fed 100 guests every Tuesday night.
Hear someone saying, I don't have anywhere to live, I'm living on the street, and you'd hear someone else say, contact this person at this shelter.
When COVID-19 shut down soup kitchens across Chicago, Nakamowski and her dedicated volunteers didn't stop, although the dining room remains closed.
I was cooking out of my house every Tuesday. I would have volunteers dropping off food at my doorstep, and then we would deliver the meals to the Lincoln Park Community Services.
Here at the Mama Chef Soup Kitchen and Congregation Kins, people come for the food but stay for the company. That social experience is one that Nakamowski and her team says they are eager to get back to.
These days, guests can pick up their food outside the synagogue, and volunteers working with Lincoln Park Community Services deliver some of the meals to 2 of their shelters. Nakamowski is also unveiling the first Little Free Pantry in Chicago, stocked with non-perishable foods in partnership with the West Ridge Community Methodist Church.
I am excited about this because this is what the church should be doing.
From Rogers Park to West Ridge, volunteers' meals, building bridges and bridging faiths in the name of fighting food insecurity. Talia Kalman, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Talia. Homelessness on the rise in Chicago even before the pandemic. I rode along with the homelessness outreach specialist in the city, making change with her minivan and big heart.
Hi, my name is Michelle Lattimore.
Meet Michelle Lattimore.
I just love what I do. I just don't know how to turn it off, but it just comes naturally. I'm always in the right place at the right time to help somebody.
That time is every day. That place is in this van, driving around Chicago to help people who are experiencing homelessness.
I'm just always glad to help. I just try to do what I can.
For 18 years, Lattimore's worked at the Haymarket Center in the West Loop. For the last 6 years, she's dedicated herself to homelessness outreach. Do you know how many people you've helped find housing in your career?
My gosh, I've helped so many. I don't even count.
When the pandemic gripped the city, Lattimore knew she couldn't hit the brakes.
Oh my God, we just out there every day, you know.
Lattimore takes down names to help people find housing, counseling, and substance abuse treatment.
She knows how to balance the idea of doing for them and empowering them to do for themselves.
On the day we joined her, Lattimore makes 4 stops, offering services, listening, and sometimes laughing, with more than a dozen people, including 44-year-old Jermaine, a father who's been unhoused in Chicago for 2 years.
One time is rough, but you gotta be strong. You know, it's a blessing to see y'all, to help us out. It's a blessing thing to know. I'm grateful for y'all.
Lichelle says it's impossible to do this work from inside an office building. That's why she says it's so important to take the van out and meet people where they're at.
And I always try to keep that happy spirit. That's just me.
The city of Chicago's most recent point-in-time count finding more than 5,300 unhoused people in one night. Late last year, the city's Department of Family and Support Services estimating 106,000 people are housing and rent insecure. Lattimore says she works closely with the city and other agencies.
We just keep working as a team. We're like a family, a big family with, you know, different resources.
Lattimore, a mother of 3, used to be on public assistance and knows anyone can need a helping hand.
Business card, I'll write my name and my number and I'll pass it out along the way. You call me if you need me.
One woman with an insatiable drive to help others. In the West Loop, Joey Safchik, Northwestern News Network. Her compassion is just infectious. The Homelessness Prevention Act passed in the Illinois State House last month. It seeks to mitigate housing discrimination by requiring an equal review process for prospective tenants, regardless of their level of income. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's starting to feel like summer, and I hope that spring showers are in the rearview mirror, but with Chicago weather, you never really know.
You never know, but this is my ideal weather. I know it's too hot for Megan.
Yeah, it's high 70s. I prefer like mid 60s. I know that everyone makes fun of me for that, but that is my ideal weather, so this is a little hot.
Well, let's check in with Gabrielle Coriati and see what we have in store. Gabrielle?
Thanks. If you're looking for the perfect day to go to the beach, early in this week will be your best bet. Monday and Tuesday, the high gets into the 80s, but come Wednesday, we will be seeing a couple more spring showers. Thursday as well, we don't see those showers, but we do see colder temperatures. The high on Thursday being in the upper 60s with the low in the upper 50s. But on Friday, we see warmer temperatures once again, getting into the upper 70s, which will hopefully make for a warm weekend if you're looking to plan a trip into the city. That's your Chicago weather. Back to you.
Local sports teams, including the Bears and the Cubs, are joining the movement to get Chicagoans vaccinated. The Chicago Department of Public Health announcing Monday this campaign will use digital and out-of-home billboards, social media outlets, and other platforms to share information about vaccines.
With graduation approaching and parents coming to campus, you might be ready to ditch the dining halls. NNN's Vanessa Kelson dishes out 3 delicious Chicago restaurants you can visit.
I'm Vanessa, and this is my roommate Joe. An avid home chef with an affinity for flame, he's graduating, and we're on a mission to find Chicago's best to celebrate. We're starting the day at Sawara Coffee. In 2008, owner Hiroshi Sawara was the first Asian to win the Latte Art World Championship. I got the famed military latte and donut, and Joe got the black camo latte.
Cheers. Cheers. There's just like a complexity that I really appreciate.
The hojicha tea really adds a delicious toasted caramel aroma, and combined with the espresso, it gives the latte a strong cocoa finish that I didn't expect.
The signature military donut is made with notes of matcha, caramel, and coffee, and they said it's the perfect pair with a military latte.
Very sweet compared to the coffee, but the texture just melts in your mouth.
Now, onto what Joe calls the best meal of the day.
Dinner!
We're heading to Zuko. Chef Carlos Gaitan, a former contestant on Top Chef and the first Latin American to win a Michelin star, created Zuko as an ode to his hometown in Guerrero, Mexico. I ordered the chili relleno, featuring a stuffed poblano pepper, wild mushrooms, tomato fondue, and panela cheese.
Absolutely delicious. There's a lot of creaminess in the sauce, a lot of the tomato flavor coming through, and just a little hint of spice.
Joe got the barbacoa, a lamb neck with pinto bean puree and a side of mint hokoke sauce with sweet pickled vegetables and in-house tortillas.
The first thing I noticed is just the delicious roast lamb smell coming off of it. It's incredibly tender, deliciously fatty, and the pickles are going to cut through that fat so well.
Last but not least, dessert. We decided on the maíz azafrán. Sweet cornbread, caramel popcorn, honey toffee, and dulce de leche. My favorite on the plate is the sweet cornbread. The crunchy sugar top contrasts with the warm moistness of the bread.
Saffron might be my new favorite ice cream flavor. The sweetness of the cornbread makes the sweet floral flavors of saffron pop.
Time Out calls it the food and drink capital of the world. Chicago has something for everyone. Congrats, grad.
Thank you.
And eat up. In River North, Vanessa Kelson, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Vanessa. Those restaurants looked amazing. And I know that deep dish wasn't on the menu with that, but it made me really want some classic Chicago deep dish.
I can always count on you for a deep dish craving. I didn't have my first slice until my senior year this year.
I know, and that's an absolutely wild fun fact about
But now
you.
I have to make up for lost time.
More deep dish until you graduate.
Deep dish after the show?
Absolutely.
I'll see you there. And food is one way to get to know a city, but as Andrew Rowan shows us, you can also get to know a city's skyline by setting sail.
As the state of Illinois launches a new tourism campaign, Chicago's river cruises are ready to seize the moment.
Here we're looking forward to the kind of opening of the restrictions and getting a lot more tourists, happy customers down here.
Last year, COVID rocked the boat with fewer tourists and a delayed cruising season. But the Chicago Architecture Foundation River Cruise is steering towards a post-COVID world.
And folks, we do ask that you please keep those masks on throughout the entirety of the cruise unless you are actively eating or drinking.
Masks, spread out seats, hand sanitizer, and capacity limits. The 300-person vessel is capped at 50% capacity.
We're excited to host them and really happy to host them and provide a safe venue for them to visit here in Chicago.
Everybody hear me back there?
Constance Virjala is a volunteer docent who's given more than 400 tours aboard Chicago's First Lady over the last 14 years.
Does it ever get old?
No, it never gets old because the city doesn't get old. The city is constantly changing.
The docents have a lot to talk about. More than 50 buildings tell the story of Chicago's more than 100-year architecture history, and they do it all in just 90 minutes.
We're coming to understand architecture as more than just the buildings. Because when you put a building in, you radically change the nature of where you have put that building.
Whether Chicago's home or you're just cruising through, Rajala says on the water is the best way to get to know the city.
And I hope that by knowing our buildings, you'll come to know people like me who every day work in Chicago, live in Chicago. Every day we love Chicago.
The story of a city written across a skyline.
I thank all of you for coming.
On the Chicago River, Andrew Rowan, Northwestern News Network.
That That boat tour is just spectacular, but if you can't make the trek downtown just yet, Rajala and her colleagues also give architecture tours here on our campus, so you can build your foundation of knowledge about the places we call home. Check it out at architecture.org.
That's incredible. I did not realize that there were architecture tours right here on our campus.
With the pros, it seems like a campus hidden gem. I'm excited to check one out.
Absolutely. Well, after the break, seniors don their caps and gowns. Stick around.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back. So the Chicago show is our last show of the year, and for our seniors, it's really the end of an era. And Joey, you're a senior. We are so grateful for all of the amazing work that all of our seniors have done. In addition to Joey, we have Savannah, Nolan, Justin, Rupa, Alexa, and Lindsay, who have all done incredible work for NNN fall, winter, spring quarters. And so all of the non-seniors wanted to put together a thank you. So let's take a look.
Hi NNN seniors.
Hi NNN seniors.
This just in, Northwestern News Network seniors are graduating, and we are going to miss them so much.
You all have done such amazing work, and I know that you're all going to do amazing things in the future.
I think you're very obviously the heart and soul of this program.
I admire you all so much. You guys all inspire me so much.
A lot of us, like me, haven't taken a broadcast class before, so everything we've learned has come from you.
You guys have to visit us for every Tuesday live show next year. No buts.
You have to come visit. Come to Evanston, come to campus. And if you don't come, I'll probably hunt you down.
I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've had to work with you and learn from you and be friends with you.
Congratulations, and I can't wait to see all of the incredible things that you've accomplished. You've made such an impact on this organization.
We just wanted to say a special thank you to Joey. You were the best mentor we could have possibly asked for.
We love you so much, Joey, and we're just so grateful.
It's been amazing working beside you guys this year. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Thank you for making this crazy year great.
I can't wait to see what you all accomplish moving forward, and I'm so happy for you all. Congratulations.
Joey, we are going to miss you and our other seniors so much. Congratulations. I know that you all are going to go on to do incredible things, and I cannot wait to see where your future takes you.
Thank you. NNN has been not only the highlight of my time on this campus, but my time on this earth. I've made my best friends in this program, and I'm so grateful to have worked with you all, to have been your leader, and I'm so lucky to call this studio my home.
We're so grateful to have our seniors and can't wait to see what you all will do next. That's all the time we have for tonight. My name is Megan Leibowitz.
I'm Joey Safchik. For all of us here at NNN, stay safe and stay informed.